who knows Charlie Kirk personally, doesn't like Charlie Kirk. I don't know what to tell you. What is shocking about this is like, this is a government run by podcasters, and they killed a podcaster. This is a government run by right-wing podcasters. And this dude shot a right-wing podcaster and killed him. So even if they didn't personally... Fuck is Kash Patel, bro? Oh, they're coming out. Right on cue, baby. Let's go. You're about to see the worst press conference. I'm telling you right now, Kash Patel, incapable of sticking to a script, utterly incapable of coming across as a sincere person. It is about to get crazy in here. Who knows? Who knows what kind of information is going to come out of this press conference?
Hi everybody, thank you for being here today. My name is Hillary Kellner. I am the Communications Director for the Utah Department of Public Safety. This evening we have FBI Director Patel.
Yeah. Our takeaway from this is going to be like, did Kash Patel do this? Because the way he's talking about it is like so suspicious.
Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson and Commissioner Anderson, as well as, I'm so sorry, Commissioner Bo Mason, as well as some local partners here present with us today. Governor, we'll kick it off.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here tonight. We appreciate the media and the partnership we have with you in helping us to get information out to the public so that we can catch this assassin and hold him accountable. We are going to share a portion of a video and that we have of the suspect, as well as some new stills. Those have already been released, but we want to make sure that they get as much attention as possible so that we can get help from the public in tracking down this evil human being. So we're going to cue up the video right now, show that. I've asked Commissioner Bo Mason if he would narrate to you what is happening in this video.
I'm done. If the TMZ watermark is on that, I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay, it's not. It is a new video.
If you look up
Okay.
in the top left, you'll see the building where the shooter was proned out in the top left corner. We'll go ahead and play that video, and I'll narrate as we walk through that.
They have nothing, by the way, which is crazy.
So here you see the suspect ran behind that upper building. He's going to come out on the right, moves to this far right corner. As he does, he's going to climb off the edge and then drop down to the ground. As he did that, he left some palm impressions. There's some smudges in some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint where we believe the suspect is clearly identified as wearing Converse tennis shoes. Again, we'll replay that again so you can get another view of that. It's important to note his black t-shirt, his black pants, and there appears to be some white on the soles of those Converse tennis shoes. Those are all identifiable items that we're looking for. In the stills that are going to follow this, you're going to see a very distinctive t-shirt with an American flag and appears to have an eagle on it. There's also a baseball cap with a triangle on it.
Dude, that's crazy.
A pair of sunglasses. All distinctive, all things that we would ask the public to look for and try to identify if they know someone who has those items, who has been seen wearing those items. We're looking for all that information. Here you see the suspect after dropping off the building. He moved around across this grassy area, around the parking lot. We're going to pan to the right.
Bro just walked away like Ezio, bro. This is Assassin's Creed.
This is where he moves over into
no fall damage.
This is the video evidence that we utilize to track his movements.
Bro, that's okay. Okay, look. I know the profile made it seem like he's like some young possible groiper, but I mean,
so here's the still
this dude.
I mentioned these have been enhanced.
He looks, man. Am I crazy?
Earlier, please pay close attention to the T-shirt. Like I said, very distinctive with that American flag and that eagle. The hat with the triangle and the sunglasses. If you go to the next picture, please.
Oh, what are they going to leak?
As well, all identifying features that we're hoping the public can help us identify and lead us to this suspect. Next picture. And again, there's a better picture of the hat with that triangle logo, and again, the t-shirt. Blue jeans, and you get a good look at those Converse tennis shoes as well. We have pushed these out, we'll continue to push these out, and we just ask for the public's cooperation through the public. The tips that have been coming in are what are giving us our next leads and enabling us to continue to further this investigation. We've had great cooperation from the public, and we're continuing to ask for that as we move forward. Thank you. And I'll
The
turn it
suspicion
back
is
over
the
to
rifle
Eric.
was in his bag, and it
Thank you
was
so much,
put together
Commissioner
on the spot.
Mason. I want to thank Director Patel and his team. It's great to have them on the ground with us tonight. We've had several briefings, and he's had an opportunity to walk the crime scene. We appreciate our local law enforcement here. Again, we have Mike Smith, who is the county sheriff here. We have all of our local chiefs of police that are here as well, all working hand in hand with the state and with the FBI as we move forward with this investigation. Now, just give
Bro,
you a
there's
little
got to
more
be a
information.
mother out there that's like, that's my son. You know what I mean? There's got to be a parent out there that's like, well, my son hasn't been around all day. What's going
But I do
on?
want to share a couple.
You know
things
what I
that
mean?
think
Like,
are-
what the?
We cannot do our job without the public's help right now. The public has answered our call for action. So far, we've received more than 7,000 leads and tips. I would just note that the FBI hasn't received this many digital media tips from the public since the Boston Marathon bombing. This case also highlights the dedication of our law enforcement community. We have 20 federal, state, and local law enforcement partners that are working shoulder to shoulder to find the person who committed this horrific crime. With their support, we've completed nearly 200 interviews. As you're aware, as has already been reported, the FBI is offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to the identification and arrest of the
cooked.
person responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk.
They got nothing, dude.
We
This is
also
terrible.
continue to implore the public to support this investigation and come forward with any information. We are truly hopeful that this video and new photos will lead to even more tips. We are processing. We have an incredible team, a state and federal team working
Once
together
again,
to
it just
process
feels
those
like-
tips. We are going out in tandem to interview any potential person of interest or suspects. But we need, again, we need as much help as we can possibly get. Any videos or photos that you might have, the public, should be submitted to our digital media tip line, which is www.fbi.gov/Utah Valley shooting, all lowercase. Again, that is fbi.gov/Utah Valley shooting, all lowercase. You can also provide general tips about the shooting by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-CALL-FBI, or at tips.fbi.gov. This is, I would just say, this is not just a local matter here in Utah. We have people all over the country that are helping to bring this perpetrator to justice for Charlie Kirk and his family. I will just add as well that, as was mentioned, there is a lot of forensic evidence that is being processed right now at both the state lab and the federal labs, federal lab on the East Coast. So we are working in tandem together. I would also just add a word of note for those people who are spending so much time on social media. I think Charlie said it best, that when things get bad, we should put our phones down and spend a little time with our families. There
Okay,
is a
this guy really
tremendous amount
loved
of
Charlie Kirk, by the way.
disinformation. We are tracking our team, the state team, and I'm sure the federal team as well. What we're seeing is our adversaries
fucking
want
loved him,
violence. China, we have bots from Russia, China, all over the world that are trying to instill disinformation and encourage violence. I would encourage you to ignore those, to turn off those streams, and spend a little more time with our families. We desperately need some healing. We'll have more to say about that in the days and weeks to come. More than anything, we are going to catch this person. Last thing I will just say is we've been working with our attorneys, getting everything that we need, affidavits ready, so that we can pursue the penalty in this case, and that will happen here in the state of Utah. Again, to the public, to those who are grieving, thank you for your prayers. I know we are feeling those prayers. I know the Kirk family is feeling those prayers as well. We pray that God will bless our nation at this very dark time. We can start healing by finding this perpetrator and holding him accountable, and we need your help to do that. Thank you.
Wait, nothing from... That's it? No cash money? No cash money? Dude. Bro, they knew if they had Cash Money Patel on there, people would be like, okay, you did it, right? Like, why are you being so weird and finicky? But it is alarming that this is the only new revelation we got from this. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. They gave us nothing. They know less than we do, man. What the fuck's going on? They know as much as the guy who was using Grok to artificially enhance the images that they released earlier. They're probably being careful and don't want the killer to know if they know more. Very common in investigations. Yeah, very common in investigations when you go, hey, we're right at the precipice of apprehension, but please, we are begging you to send us any information you have because we don't know shit. American public, save us. The fact that the FBI is so hamstrung now that they can't find the guy who shot their friend does not bode well for everyone who is not their friend. Incompetency. Yeah. What the fuck, man? No, that's what I was thinking too. It's like, dude. This puts the conversations that I've had with federal law enforcement in the aftermath of receiving like what they consider to be credible death threats in a totally different light. It makes so much more sense. They'll just have like a Discord printout of a screenshot and they'll be like, hey, this seems like I just, these guys are fucking useless, man. What is happening? I thought that they were just like fucking around. I thought that they were fucking around. Like they're just, trying to do like busy work or something. It turns out that is how it works in the background. All of the billions of dollars of television was just to make us think that there's like brilliant dudes back there, like, a team of lawyers. Like this is because that's what the FBI is, right? Like CIA's the criminals, FBI is supposed to be like a bunch of suits, bunch of lawyers, and they just get together and they investigate, they're diligent investigators. Turns out that's just movies, man. They just straight up are like, I don't know. You'll be like, where is the guy? You don't have anything on him? You don't have anything on him because this is the guy who killed your friend. This is the guy who killed your friend. And you're over here talking about like, as Charlie Kirk would want us to put our phones down and touch grass. It's like, no, man, keep the phones up. Keep dialing. Do something. What the fuck? You made this a big deal. Okay. And in some ways, especially once again, too close to the issue for myself. Okay. I am too close to the issue. So for me, I'm like, what is happening here? There's just no punishments. There's no penalties. There's no investigation. What's going on here? What the fuck? Not even a little bit? Not even
today. Maybe he hurt himself during that jump, but I know he's a shooter and I know this. I mean, that could be happening right now. The purpose of tonight's press conference was to put out that video, not because you can identify him from that video. It was to garner more interest, garner more play, get more eyes on those photographs that come with the video. Yeah. They're trying to stir the pot because they're waiting for that call.
Yeah, I mean, they had this press conference scheduled for a little bit earlier in the day, and it's been postponed. I mean, actually now almost 6 hours since they, maybe more than 6 hours since they last said that they were going to have one, saying that the developments were coming rapidly. Do you see a difference between what we know today, based on what they said, and what they knew perhaps yesterday evening?
Well, I think the big thing right now is the video, right? So now they have this description, they had this the visual of the suspect. They walk through in this press conference. They walk through very specific details: the hat, the details of the hat, the details of the shirt, the details of the shoes. Why? Because something like that is going to stick out in somebody's mind and go, wait a minute, that guy has a Converse sneaker. He's acting a little weird. I'm going to make a call. So crowdsourcing information by law enforcement is a common tactic, right? But the challenge right now is, we heard them talk about just the amount of tips that they're getting. The challenge is volume and velocity of these tips coming in. Every single one of them has to be reviewed, researched, and adjudicated as to, is this a valid lead? Is this actionable? Again, if you think about the volume, that is a monumental task right now for the FBI and local law enforcement to do that. But it's that needle in a haystack. It's that one person in the McDonald's that says, I think I see this suspect. And that's where they can action off of it.
We also have with us Andrew McCabe, a former FBI deputy director. Andy, I wonder what you think of the progress of this investigation so far. They don't have an identity of this person, and they are.
Turns out when people don't like you, they don't want to help you. Brother, if you think the current FBI, who is led by a fucking right-wing podcaster who knows Charlie Kirk personally, doesn't like Charlie Kirk, I don't know what to tell you. What is shocking about this is, like, this is a government run by podcasters, and they killed a podcaster. This is a government run by right-wing podcasters. And this dude shot a right-wing podcaster and killed him. So even if they didn't personally like Charlie Kirk all that much, or maybe they had like a disagreement or something, I feel like they would, at least out of, ensuring that this doesn't happen to them as, brothers in bond, other podcasters, they probably, I assume they would be demonstrating a level of competence beyond what they're doing currently. Not good. Bo Mason, the head of Utah's public safety, told NBC tonight the authorities have no idea about the identity and location of Charlie Kirk's killer. A remarkable definitive statement. This clip just aired on Psaki briefing on MSNBC. What?
I know you can't say too much here, but is it your understanding that this individual...
Okay, this also kind of makes me feel like this is like an inside job or something. Like, this is... No.
...may be close by or still in Utah?
We have no idea. We're exploring leads for individuals out of state. And
this man said, we know you can't reveal too much, but what can you reveal? And the dude said, we don't know anything. We don't know anything at all. I don't know if it's a guy or a girl. I don't know what state he's in. I think we found his gun, but it could be somebody else's gun. Really, it's Utah. There's a lot of guns around. Why would they reveal anything? What are you talking about? Have you guys never watched like a manhunt, like a high-profile manhunt before? Is this your first interaction with law enforcement? This is remarkably bad. It's worse than, dude, they literally apprehended not one, but two random people, okay? Like in the immediate aftermath. And this wasn't like a murder that took place in a quiet neighborhood far away from prying eyes. Like, this was a public event at a fucking college campus where there are a fuck ton of cameras and a fuck ton of people filming the event. Do you understand? Like, with Luigi Mangione, they fucking went nutty mode, okay? They put the fucking island on lockdown. They put New York City, Manhattan on lockdown instantly. No one in, no one out. He still got away, and they still were incompetent in the process. But at least, like, it seemed like there was a fuck ton more effort and fuck ton more competence. Please lock doors, my handsome angel. Okay. Like, lock in like you did with Ryan Ruth. Is he a lib or a hog? I can't tell. I mean, he is hog-coded in the fits, for sure. Okay? He's hog-coded in the fits. And as soon as I took one look at Ryan Ruth, and I was like, that's a liberal. Like, that's like a, he is wearing Converse, though. Hogs wear Converse, too. Converse is a lib shoe. I mean, I don't know. I think he might be griped up. Yeah, it's definitely a results-based business. This is a disaster. I will say, like, how many fucking libs are in Utah, dude? I mean, there's some, but I feel like you need to be in a super densely slammed, libbed up environment to have a lib that's, like, cracked enough. You know what I mean? Like, there's not that many fucking, I mean, I know they're all in Salt Lake City, and I know it's a college campus, there's libs there too, right? But you have to, it's a game of, I mean, this, you're looking at this like a game of statistics, right? Like there is a higher likelihood that there's going to be a crazy lib in an area that is super densely slammed with a bunch of liberals. Because a person coming out and like taking the initiative and like planning this thing out and you know, taking the shot, all the stuff, lining up the sides, taking the shot, running away, all of that requires something extraordinary. A lot, like you have to be a lot more invested in the average person. So it's already statistically very unlikely that you're going to arrive at a person that's willing to do that. But then for that person to also be like in the minority in a state like Utah, it just makes it even harder. I mean, the fact that he like assembled and then disassembled the gun on the spot is also pretty crazy. What was the private jet theory you mentioned this morning? There is a private jet that flew out and like the ADB tracker was shut off, or at least like couldn't get triggered. But I don't think that was that's not crazy. It's easy to do that, dude. That's not that easy, man. And it wasn't an AR. Chatters. You say, okay, let me tell you something. You say like, oh, first of all, the gun's not even an AR. It's a bolt action rifle. Okay. That's number one. Number two, even if you were to, even if it was an AR, okay, it's not that easy to fucking assemble an AR and then make sure that it's working and then shoot a person, a human being. Like that's not, why are you saying it is? It's not. A lot can go wrong. There's so many points of failure. This isn't fucking Call of Duty. What the fuck? Plus, he didn't even have an AR anyway. It was a bolt action hunting rifle. This is why it makes me feel like this guy is at least like military trained or something, but I don't know. Maybe it's Utah. Maybe there's a lot of fucking people who grow up around farms. They go hunting at an early age. If he has that shirt that like disabled vets have gotten, as some in my community were saying, like that's a shirt that was sent out to disabled veterans. Even narrowing the timeline, he could have I guess he could have a disabled veteran relative if it's not himself, because he looks too young. There's a big difference between hitting a target from that distance and landing a kill shot in one attempt. According to reports, the casing was still in the chamber. He didn't even plan on taking a second shot. Yeah, I'm a disabled veteran and never got that shirt. Well, L for you, chatter. That's a L, big dog. Thank you for your service.
Individuals that live close by, we literally have persons of interest, tips coming in on the tip line that are spanning far and wide.
Hope you at least got maximum disability. You know what I mean? Hopefully you got 100% at least. So you got your shit paid out. SPLC says there's an active Oath Keeper group in the UVU area. Great. He instantly unscrewed that barrel of the rifle. Yeah, it has to be halved when he's jumping off that roof, correct? What's in his arms on the ground when he Assassin's Creed walking? Yeah, it looked like disassembled it. He assembled it when he got up, and then he disassembled it, and then put it in his backpack. But then it doesn't make sense because he like trashed it later, right? Because they found the gun, and I think they found the gun assembled. Or at least that's what they made it seem like. So that doesn't make a lot of sense either. So what? Like he fucking disassembled the gun and then assembled it again only to trash it? That also doesn't make sense. Is he wearing meta glasses in the new angle? No, I don't think so.
The focus was inside the courtyard area where the shooting had unfolded. Abby?
Yeah. I'm back in the room here in New York. Jonathan Wackrow, that neighborhood is, as Ed Lavandera just pointed out, going to have a lot of information embedded in it. A doorbell camera.
Bro, we have a crazy amount of surveillance in this state. Like we live under a surveillance state, and it's kind of shocking when you see something like this where like a dude with a hat and glasses can just absolutely nuke all of that. Like that is crazy to me that a dude, one hat, one skin tight Oakleys, and red states are basically living, it seems like, in an era where you could just like kind of do a murder, and if no one saw you physically do the murder, you were basically good to go. Or like bank robberies, you know what I mean? Remember back in the day? Obviously, I'm not that old either, but back in the day, you could just like kind of kill people and then, you know, they just had nothing. If nobody saw you do it, there was like no way to figure out if you actually did the murder. I didn't say back in my day. I said back in the day, okay? And it feels like, I guess if you're in fucking Utah, they're still like operating as though it's 1930s. Looks like the weapon is in his hands, wrapped in a shirt. You can see him handle it as he climbs down. Yeah, if you're a white dude with Oakleys and a baseball cap and like, you know, an American flag long sleeve tee, it's over. You're going free. They have to arrest. What are they going to do? Arrest 80% of the state? They can't do that. That's 80% of the state. They can't arrest everybody.
It's both. Both of those are good things.
Yeah.
Tons of video to go through. And, you know, as Jonathan said, you know, you do that video canvas till you don't see him anymore.
Someone also brought up a really good suggestion. They said he probably has arm tattoos. That also does make sense for why he was wearing a long sleeve.
You want to get him as far as you can get him till you don't have him anymore, because that might take you to the vehicle he jumped in.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, knowing whether there was a vehicle that he jumped in is super important. And I'm not sure, that hasn't been
that's the gun
revealed,
wrapped around the shirt.
That would certainly
or
be
like
a
some
big,
kind of cloth.
Step.
Yeah, and I mean, then, you know, there's the possibility of, well, did he go to the interstate? And then there's the second question, which is, we know the university parking lots had license plate readers, but the interstate might. The state police would know where they are, and, you know, if that vehicle, even if you didn't have the plate from the video, if it passed an LPR, you would get that as a piece of data. The point is, absent somebody giving them a great suspect that they arrest and confesses tonight, they'll do the hard slog, no matter how many days or weeks that takes.
Until the right tip comes in, because essentially that is...
Think about it this way. Look at the investigation to the Utah student murders.
Yeah.
Right? No real witness except who saw a dark figure leave the house. No motive, no connection between the victims. And they were able to piece that together with tiny bits of evidence that then came together with so many different techniques, from the video to the license plate to the cell phone towers to the video of the car stop from a police officer months before of a person who had already changed the license plate. These can come together with one bold call, like Luigi Mangione from somebody in a restaurant and the mom starting to get suspicious in San Francisco that might be her boy, or it can come together through 1,000 pieces that finally fit together like a puzzle.
Hey, and Juliet said it. I mean, if you look at those photos, if you know that man, you know him. Yeah. That seems clear. I mean, we can't see his face and his eyes, but his demeanor, his height, you would know that person. Andy McCabe, I just want to ask you, Kash Patel, the FBI director, flew to Utah today, but did not speak. And this is after a couple of days of several tweets that really got ahead of what they actually had in terms of a suspect or a subject in this investigation. What do you make of the fact that we didn't hear from him tonight?
Cash money.
Yeah,
Cash money
really
Patel,
hard
baby.
to figure out. There are many good reasons why you wouldn't go. If you're the director, you would not go out to the scene of an ongoing crisis, post-crisis investigation. I think that's many of the reasons why, you know, typically directors don't do that. One of the reasons not to do that is because the presence of the director imposes a huge burden on the field office. There's all kinds of arrangements that have to be made. There's all kinds of security concerns that arise. Transportation becomes very complicated. And that's the last thing you want to do to the field office while they're in the middle of investigating a critical incident. So again, it's strange to go out there under those circumstances. Why he went and then did not say anything at the press conference, I really don't know. I'm a bit at a loss to understand, like, what was the purpose of going out there. If you're there, you know, you probably want to at least make very perfunctory comments about appreciating the hard work of the men and women that are doing the investigation, and of course thanking your partners for the sort of access and the relationship that you have. So
Yeah, it is
I really,
puzzling.
I don't even know how to kind of guess at that at this point. To be
Yeah,
honest.
I am curious. So Jonathan Wackrow, do you have any thoughts about that?
No, it is odd, right? Because you announced that both the deputy director and the director were there. They came out.
Yeah.
They walked the site. They assessed it. Now you're sitting at a press conference in front of the nation, and there's silence. Again, it's something that. Again,
And that burden of the director and the deputy director in the field office. I mean, we were just talking about how much they have to do, how many tips they have to go through. Helpful, unhelpful in this moment?
it can be detractive, right?
I mean,
It's not additive to the investigation.
There is that risk that when your boss's boss and your boss's boss's boss show up together,
Yeah.
that the distraction is we're going to put a lot of effort into briefing the bosses
Right. And
about
the
everything
briefings were definitely mentioned tonight. So
about
that was a
everything we
factor.
know and everything we're doing and answering their questions. That's time when the leadership is focused on briefing their bosses instead of leading the investigation. It can be very distracting. When they canceled the noon press conference because of fast developments in the case and announced that the director was flying out, I speculated two things. One, there's a break in the case and they're going to announce a name or an arrest. Or two, that there isn't a break in the case and they wanted to bring the power and voice of the FBI director to generate more coverage, which just makes it odder that he did show up dressed in an FBI raid jacket and jeans and then didn't speak.
Yeah.
It's just
And that was a lost
If
opportunity.
nobody else
It
will
was a real
say
lost
it, I
opportunity
will. This
that,
guy looks a bit like
you know,
Charlie Kirk
because they
himself.
walked
Very
through
strong
that he's part of,
possibility
like,
we're in a
the
Looper style
investigation, everything like
situation.
that. That was the moment to reassure the public from the director's point of view. If you're there, tell the
Bro, I mean, they've run out of options. They have no idea. Might as well go with this. Don't let Kash Patel see this. He's going to run with this narrative, okay? If you see Kash Patel, if Kash Patel sees this, he's going to go along with it. Anything is possible. Anything is possible, man. Yes, I have seen the transvestigation of the
Element to
shooter.
This is a moment of incredible tension for this country. And it strikes me that, particularly on the right, there's been a skepticism about this idea of foreign influence and even this word disinformation. I was surprised to hear it uttered at this press conference, but it must be so serious that it was raised. I mean, what do you make of that?
It is, I want to sort of pick up on the narrative of what is Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, whose biography is not consistent with the biography of former FBI directors, and who has made fundamental mistakes as an FBI director over the last 24 hours, getting ahead, tweeting an investigation, being wrong, focusing our attention on an Arab American or some crank in the crowd. All of it distracting.
That is what they did, by the way. They did. They literally, oh my God, that was actually kind of funny. They immediately went and arrested the only Arab dude in the crowd. Turns out he was a fucking Heritage Foundation guy. They arrested the only Arab guy in the crowd. And it turns out he was a fucking Charlie Kirk supporter.
The state is looking at this. It's worried about disinformation.
And they interrogated him and then they have to release him.
People who
But
depend
they also
on him.
revealed his name in the process.
All citizens of Utah. And I thought that was interesting. And I don't know if that explains why Patel was not.
Why are you
asked
milking
to
an
speak.
assassination for
It
meaningless
is weird
content?
that he was
Fantastic
there
take,
and
man.
didn't-
You're
and
right. I should
wasn't-
actually refuse to look at CNN. Have you seen any of the major news outlets? This is the news, okay? Obviously, I have my own proximity to the story as well, but you know.
People are angry. The president is directing our focus on a theory of the case that we have that is just not true at this stage. We don't know who the guy is. We don't know what his motivation is. There's allegations about various groups and identities and sexual identities that are just not true. And that's where the Chinese
I did cover
fill the space with
the threats being made to
confirming these narratives
HBCUs.
that pit
The
Americans against
DNC
each
headquarters
other. So
received a bomb threat as well.
when we are looking for leadership, it is important to commend the governor.
As a former
of,
sniper, I can say that this
Utah
accuracy
in
doesn't require
terms
professionalism.
of,
You do need some experience, maybe
him
100 and 200 rounds
setting
total with a
us
scope and a bolt
in the right
action.
direction,
However,
which
what
is the
makes me think this was
focus
professional
is
acting
the
is the fact that he
violence.
got away so
When
far.
the motivations
That
were
requires
maybe
planning in cold blood,
confused, they might
considering
be
the amount of
right, they
cameras and
might be
smartphones around.
left.
That's what I
It
said.
doesn't matter.
Like,
There
I
was
think
a
the shot
political
is also,
assassination, and
I think the
that's
shot also requires training, especially when you're killing someone, like a human being, okay? But the fact that he was able to, like, set this up and then get away with it, and it's not even like, it's not like a totally random situation. Like, this is a major event. There are thousands of people there, and there's hella cameras everywhere. And even on the cameras, if you notice, like, his face is hidden, like not touching the railing, like not touching the fucking stairway rails. I don't know. The bullet drop was calculated within a margin of error too, even if he wasn't aiming for the neck. The guy's a trained professional. There is no way that he left zero DNA behind. Also, that's the other thing. Like, how do you not leave any? Like, I mean, sure, you got the arm sleeves, right? No arm hairs or anything, but like nothing. Like, you were on the gravel. He was laying down on the gravel. No hair. He left prints behind that are being processed. Look into the prints they found. Yeah, no, I heard. No, he has footprints, and they said paw prints. I don't think they said fingerprints. Dude's a paw prints, palm prints, manimal. Yeah, he is a manimal.
Politics saying now I am nervous about my public opinions, which is perfectly valid.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people are scared.
You know, Congress talks about, well, we want security details.
Yeah.
But as Jonathan knows better than anybody, okay, so that's 6 person for 540 members of Congress, which comes out to 3,000 something. You'd have to double the size of the Capitol Police to be the equivalent of the Philadelphia Police Department.
We also have all of these hoax calls,
swatting
calls into HBCUs.
Also, fucking guy who left nothing behind. I can't believe that they were. I can't believe that they were making it seem as though this dude was like
but there is
a trans activist that
of copycats or retribution. And if I were not just a member of Congress, but anybody in the public sphere,
article about the shirt.
And is the FBI? Our law enforcement.
Last year, Holoscope Mag, we looked into why the specific shirt is in so many thrift stores and found out the charity behind it produces them en masse to guilt potential donors.
Society have normalized violence, right? And we became comfortable with that.
Wonder how the DVNF is going to feel now that their shirts are going to suddenly get very popular in a very different context.
Since Luigi Mangione.
Have you seen the shirt? Land of the Free Shirts, a national thrift shop staple, come from the most insidious veterans charities.
Targeted killings tied to ideology have become almost the norm. This is the 3rd or 4th assassination attempt that we've seen, and it's not going away. And just going back to, that there's a killer on the loose. This individual went all the way through the pathway of violence.
Wait, what is this? The ATF bulletin said the agents found engravings that are interpreted as expressing transgender or anti-fascist ideology on an ammunition inside a weapon believed to have been used by the murder of Kirk. 2 law enforcement sources told CNN that agents quickly ran an initial search on one of the markings, including a series of arrows, which analysts initially interpreted to be a connection to the transgender community. That information remains unverified. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's literally the fucking bullet markings. Oh my God. Oh my God. They're so stupid. Oh my God. No, it's the fucking, no, it's not Iron Front, dude. No, it's TRN. It's most likely TRN. And it is literally the fucking, the stamp that they put on the back of the bullets. Oh my God. How can you be at the ATF? How can you literally be at the ATF and not know that these are like regular stamps that they have? Yeah, that's it. And I saw another bullet with a stamp with like arrows on it. Our Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms knows nothing about ammunition. They thought that an arrow imprinted on a cartridge was a transgender symbol. It's actually a head stamp. Every cartridge on Earth has this. Some have arrows. It identifies the manufacturer. Idiots. How are people at the ATF unfamiliar with like common? No, it can't be, right? Like, it has to be something different, right? There's no fucking shot. There is no shot that the Bureau for Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is so oblivious to shit that is a common practice. It has to be someone that fucking saw this and literally thought like, that's why it was in the preliminary assessment. Some fucking dumbass said it, most likely, I assume. and then it was in the preliminary assessment, and it wasn't actually a part of the final analysis, but it got leaked to Steven Crowder. It got leaked to Steven fucking Crowder, so we just went out with it, and then Wall Street Journal and CNN both, in an effort to not be outflanked by Steven Crowder, went along with this information as though it was valid, because they probably saw that the report was valid, but without making an additional assessment on whether or not this was finalized and ready for approval. And that's how we arrived at, like, the shooter was trans, and there's like trans engravings on the fucking bullet. Insane that this is still up. Yeah. Wall Street Journal just posted this and did not even retract it. Crowder already went in court for bad reporting. Yeah, he also got a cease and desist from the ATF for this bad reporting as well. The ATF is suing Steven Crowder now for, I mean, that's also criminal liability too, because you're technically interfering in an active investigation. Turan doesn't make ammo in that caliber. It could actually be markings. Okay, chatter. It might not be Turan. It might not be Turan. It might be a different thing that they, it might be a different bullet marking that they thought was like pro-trans or something. What's more likely, that the shooter actually, the shooter that literally left no imprint, like did everything physically possible to be able to get away with this, actually wanted the weapon to be found, so we just like left it behind with like some kind of, wait, what the fuck? Is it effing? Many people are saying no F. I don't know why people are saying there's a mini F. Anyway, after a few followers mentioned they thought this might be referring to a manufacturing stamp, I had a quick look. Many manufacturers stamp with arrows, iron sights, or initials including TRN. This seems like something that anyone in law enforcement should know if they aren't a podcaster. I don't understand how you can be at the ATF and not know that. Paw prints are a dead giveaway, but sure, keep lying to the masses. That's true. He is a manimal. Yeah, it's right. You're right. I'm going with that as well. The shooter must have been half man, half animal. He gave paw prints away. Oh, fuck me, dude. Holy shit. But yeah, it's from a DVNF charity that the shooter got their shirt from. But he could have just like basically CCNN. He could have gotten the shirt from, what is this?
From your conservative colleagues. I don't know if you've been on the Hill earlier today, or I mean, is that improving any, or is it still as tense as it seems?
Well, one, you got to understand that Congress is a microcosm of the United States, right? So there's a lot of tension within the United States. I would argue that the president is right here, and he's right for blaming the left, because just look at the facts. The facts are the school shooter in Minnesota was a left-wing lunatic. The facts are the school shooter in Tennessee was a left-wing lunatic. So these shooters are more and more becoming these radical
Nazis.
leftists.
Both of them were
So when the
fucking
president says that,
neo-Nazis
he's
in a
not wrong.
Telegram
I
group.
can guarantee you this. President Trump is going to hunt down and find the killer of Charlie Kirk. And if he's not dead already, he's going to bring him to justice. And we should all be rooting for him, because this has rocked the foundation of our republic. When you don't have First Amendment rights, regardless of if somebody's left-leaning or right-leaning, it absolutely destroys the fabric of our nation.
I just want to note, though, I mean, you cannot omit, just a couple months ago, Democratic Minnesota state representatives were assassinated.
By a left-wing lunatic.
No, not by a left-wing lunatic. And so I do think that...
No, say it.
I think the point
he was
everybody
right-wing.
is
Just say
trying
he
to
was a
make
right-wing
is that
lunatic. What is
if we
going
want to get
on?
to the bottom of
It's the
violence, political violence, division, and hatred that leads to violence, that might lead to retribution if this is not handled properly, don't we have an obligation to talk to all of us, not just to talk to one
I hate this shit,
part
bro.
of the country?
The
I think that's what you saw tonight, right? The reason why we had this press conference was to put everybody's eyes to find this killer, right? And needed everybody, regardless of who was tuning in or not. The sooner we find this murderer, the better this country is. And if we don't find it, it'll be at a detriment to everybody. Sure.
Congressman, with all due respect, this country is hungry for leaders. And you are an elected member of Congress, and no one's been apprehended yet. I understand what you're saying about political violence, and there has been political violence perpetrated by individuals who identify as on the left. But there's also been political violence perpetrated by those who are clearly on the right, as the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband makes abundantly clear. Please, I am begging you, lead the country from your position of power and try to bring the temperature down. I knew Charlie Kirk personally.
Right.
Charlie Kirk and I disagreed on almost every political issue.
Mm-hmm.
But what I appreciated about Charlie Kirk is he provided a platform for people like me to speak to a completely different audience and make my case. And I appreciated that about him, and I would like it if members of Congress, both on the left and right, found a way to harbor those types of conversations, both on the House floor, the Senate floor, and also on shows like this.
Well, first off, if anybody is murdering, if anybody is using political rhetoric and using political violence to silence their people that they don't agree with, we should all be against that. We should all push towards officials, but everyday individuals should also push for that. And part of that is we got to hold one another responsible and accountable. We can't just say, oh, it was somebody else's fault. All of us play a role in this. And look, I think the president is bringing us together. The fact that, you know, we forget it's 9/11. We forget it's the Memorial Day of 9/11. And where was the president? He was at Yankee Stadium today, shaking hands, bringing life to it.
Wow, he was
I'm not
really
a Yankees fan.
he was
Did you
really
see
bringing
that
America
picture
together.
with him and all the Yankees baseball players.
He
the
was
crowd.
also referring to the political left as radical lunatics.
He was at the U.S.
So
Open.
he
was at
speaks from
UFC.
both sides
The
of his
president
mouth.
has been very
and
active,
since
and I
his
appreciate
election
that.
in 2016,
Can
the
I ask
political
you-
rhetoric in this country has devolved further.
Can I ask you to respond to that part of what she's addressing, which is what the president said? When I saw someone say this this week, when you hear people, usually online, say they did this, they did that, when we're talking about one man who is a lunatic shooter, criminal, that is so discordant to a lot of this country they're just normal people who are appalled by this. But when you generalize an awful event like this to
Oh my God,
a whole
stop.
half of the country, as President Trump seemed to have done today,
That's crazy.
you're saying that that's bringing the country together, but a lot of people don't hear that.
What I'm saying is, sadly, there isn't just one incident. This isn't just on a decline. This is
this person who is
of where there is more and more
an elected representative has just been lying the entire time. And even Anna's pushback was like not as aggressive as should be. He's just straight up fucking lying. He's like talked about 3 Nazis basically being radical leftists.
And instead of blaming one another,
it is happening. It is happening. And the fish rush
We're in
head
agreement
down.
to that. But I think the problem is you, sir, as a congressman, just singled out leftist attacks, and that of course leaves out things like the attack on the CDC just a few weeks ago. It leaves out lots of other attacks. I think the point is, particularly in your point of position
I
of
forgot
responsibility,
about that.
particularly on a day like 9/11. There's an obligation not to try to get political points, but to look at the broader cycle and to say we all need to step back. And we all, so am I, sir.
I mean, look at the school shooter at Minnesota. What are the facts in that
what
case?
you apparently don't even recognize the facts around the assassination of the state legislatures.
Look at the fact. Let's start with the alligator nearest to the boat, which was the Minnesota school shooting.
Great.
Right? What I'm getting at
The
is
person was
these
a
aren't just
fucking
one
neo-Nazi.
issue. No,
Was in a
they're all
neo-Nazi
connected.
telegram group. Was in a white supremacist neo-Nazi telegram group. I'm losing my mind. Has all the patterns. Has literally all the patterns of previous white nationalist shooters. Literally put the names of previous white nationalist, prominent neo-Nazi mass shooters. What are we talking about? How in the ever-loving fuck did this conversation turn into, oh, the person was actually a leftist? What do you mean? That's crazy. I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind. It's just a lie. He's just lying. He's just straight up lying.
Makes people afraid.
I can't watch this
I
shit,
play
man.
What
I can't.
Senator
This makes
Kevin
me so
Cramer
pissed.
said about what the mood is on Capitol Hill among his colleagues about this issue.
I was thinking yesterday, trying to drive out of the Capitol, off the plaza, you've got 1,000 people working their way on foot, and we're very, very accessible. I like being accessible, but being accessible is starting to look like being vulnerable. And so I think there's a lot of us that are concerned about that.
Being accessible is starting to look vulnerable. Do you feel that way? Are you concerned about your own safety?
I am concerned, and so are a lot of my colleagues that are concerned. But this is how you defeat evil. This is how you defeat terrorists. This is how you defeat people that try to change our way of life, is you go right at them. This Saturday, guess what? We're having a campaign event. There'll be hundreds of people there in San Antonio. We are not going to back down. We're not going to be shy. We're not going to be silent. We're going to be vocal. And I think everyone should be that, whether it's a liberal view on the world or whether it's a conservative view on the world. We need to get back to having dialogue. And these people that are using political violence as their solution, they need to be the outliers, not the mainstream. And part of that is us being, the world has changed though, Abby. I mean, I'll give you a prime example. Why weren't there drones at this event? If there was one drone in the air, it would completely change our view on things. I mentioned that because I'm a cryptologist.
You mean like a video
a physical drone. If you put one drone in the air, all of a sudden, every rooftop is covered. I mentioned that because this isn't the first time there's been a shooter from a rooftop. I want it to be the last
it's woke.
time. So let's
no, he's right.
incorporate-
Woke Utah didn't do drones. How much you want to bet this motherfucker's invested in a drone security thing? How much you want to bet this motherfucker's invested in like a mass surveillance drone security company?
The future is going to look very different for these types of events. I want you to all stand by.
Yeah, I guess they didn't have rooftop control, man. What the fuck? Drone control, not gun control, drone control.
Still dealing with moderate to severe ulcerative.
Oh my God. Yeah, also, so was the shooter in the Evergreen High School shooting yesterday. Desmond Hawley, 16, who was suspected of shooting and critically injuring 2 students, had been radicalized by an extremist network, the authorities said. Very high likelihood, also a part of that fucking Telegram network, just like the Minnesota shooter, just like the Minneapolis shooter. But hey, guess what, dude? They could just say, oh, these guys are woke. They did it for wokeness. These guys, at this point, like back in the day, not every one of these guys would fucking leave like a manifesto behind, right? They wouldn't leave like telltale markers of what their, opinions are, who they want to kill, why they're doing this. Nowadays, they just write it out. They put a fucking manifesto online. They film themselves writing the manifesto. They fucking cover their guns. They cover their guns with like white supremacist shit. They say they're doing it for white supremacy. They say they're doing it because they're fucking neo-Nazis. And then, after all is said and done, all the right needs to do is turn around and say, that's a leftist. And that's it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. Right-wingers will look at a person that is screaming that they love right-wing politics. They love it so much. Once again, the Minnesota shooter hung out with Brandon Herrera, who ran for office. He's a fucking right-wing gun tuber who ran for office in the state of Texas, okay? Said he liked Brandon Herrera. Had Anders fucking Breivik slammed on the gun. Numerous other white supremacist mass shooters. And it's so crazy. It is so crazy that that liberals look at all of that and instead of being like, what the fuck do you mean this guy was left-wing? What are you talking about? He has slurs all over the fucking gun against the guy. Oh, Brandon Herrera ran against the guy that we just saw on that panel. Amazing. Amazing. So this guy has to know. If a guy who ran for office was mentioned by a fucking mass shooter, you probably know about that, right? So you know the shooter wasn't a leftist, right?
Was shot. Taking a question from somebody who did not like him.
That's right.
Somebody who totally disagreed with him. And very few people are willing to subject themselves to that.
That's actually very true. And I do really appreciate that about Charlie Kirk. I appreciated the fact that he wanted to, again, provide a platform for people who disagree with each other to have civil debate. And I think what we have moved away from as a country is a shared identity as Americans, regardless of what your political views are. You know, after the biggest and most tragic terrorist attack on U.S. soil on 9/11, the one thing that was different then compared to what's happening today is that Americans came together because they saw each other as fellow Americans. They had that shared identity. I don't know why we've moved away from that. I don't know why we have like dug in our heels in all the different things that make us different. But we have to be able to live in this pluralistic society respect one another and accept the fact that we're going to have political disagreements. It doesn't make you a bad person to disagree with someone.
No, that's the essence of democracy.
Exactly.
As a matter of fact. And part of that means recognizing you can disagree without demonizing people. But what's happening is dangerous. We've been through periods like this, the late 1960s and early 70s, there's a lot of political violence.
Exactly.
But you look back, today is 9/11. On 9/11, 2001, I was on the steps of City Hall. And you saw the way our country united.
Yeah, to kill Muslims.
For man-made disasters to unite. But
to
the
kill
problem is we are
random
not
people
uniting. After
far,
January 6th,
far
our
away,
country
by the
did
way,
not
that had
unite.
nothing to do
During
with it.
COVID,
Their
we do need
neighbors
more
too.
leaders who
That
stand
too.
up and say, we need to focus on what
Company,
unites us,
the
not what
country
divides.
was so
we
united.
Can't demonize people we disagree with, and political violence is always wrong, whether it's on quote unquote your side of the aisle or the other side.
John, let me give you an example of where this is working. Why am I here in New York? I'm here in New York because there's a bipartisan congressional delegation that came here to D.C. Came here from D.C. As part of the House Homeland Security Committee, both Democrats and Republicans going and visiting the 9/11 memorial together. Right now on Capitol Hill, you can't get Republicans and Democrats to be in the same elevator. More or less get us to travel with one another and spend this. But I tell you what, that was the first time that I had visited that memorial, and it was somber, the emotions I went through. I spent 20 years in the military. You know, I remember 9/11 like it was yesterday. Like less than a week later, I was in Afghanistan. So here was an area that really changed the whole scope of my life, as did a lot of other veterans that served in Iraq and Afghanistan. So to your point, it is happening. There are some bipartisan moments that are occurring, but there needs to be more, and they also need to be more public.
Yeah, and people need to be honest that they're happening, because some people don't even want to admit it. And next for us, I want to talk about a disturbing revelation from the governor during that news conference that we just brought you about foreign actors in all of this discord.
Hold up. Didn't it take a few months to invade Afghanistan? I mean, yeah, but that shit, the preparation for it, you know, there was a lot of hatred that needed to go somewhere. One big issue left is faced with, this is Hawk's view, Groyper's a socialist because Nazis identified as nationalist socialists. Okay, well, that's crazy. Oh,